Tihei mauri ora ki te whaiau. Ki te ao marama, tihei mauri ora. Ki te atua, tēnā koe, e te whare, tēnā koe, e nā hoi whā, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ko te wehe ki te atua, me whakakororea tōna ingoa, i nā wā katoa. Tēnā koutou, i o tātou tīnā mati, haere atu rā, te hunga mati ki te hunga mati, te hunga ora ki te hunga ora. He mihi ana ki ngā haukainga, i ngā mahuri tuarangi. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. Ko te atua tai hau te maunga, ko takatimu ko ororau ngā waka, ko Ngāi Tahu, ko Ngāti Māmoe, ko Waitaha ngā iwi, ko Ngā te rua hiki hiki te hapu, ko Otakau te marae, ko tamatia te whare tūpuna. I te puaki a hau i o tautahi, kei te mahi au mō Youth Alive Trust. He mana aki kai mahi rawa ko Kaia ko taku tūranga mahi, ko Rach tōku ingoa. Tēnā koutou ki a koutou. Kua tai mai ne ki te tau tōku te kaupapa o tēnei pō. E teke ana te kōrero i o tātou tūpuna. Kua rāranga tahi tātou he whāreki mō a pōpō. Together we weave the mat for future generations. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kei te waiata tātou i tēnei waiata, he honore. We're going to have the lyrics up, and if we could all stand and sing a waiata together, that would be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. Kia ora koutou katoa, ko David tōku ingoa. So just a few housekeeping things before we get into the program. In case of an emergency exits to my right, to my left, also through the back doors and through the exit doors out of the foyer. If there's an earthquake, just stay put. In case we need to leave the building, the assembly area is across the road on Seaview Road next to the old school site. And with wharepaku, just through the doors, and there's a hallway down the side of the kitchen if you need to get to the wharepaku. So it's a great joy to welcome you this evening, and a big thank you to all who continue to support our work for the young people in this community. In 1988, a group of visionary locals gathered in New Brighton with a simple conviction that young people deserve a future framed by hope. They did not have all the answers to the problems that they were facing at the time, but what they had was courage and faith and a willingness to work hard. And from those humble beginnings, Youth Alive Trust was born with a promise to walk alongside young people and pointing them towards brighter futures in our local community. One of my favorite TV shows is Ted Lasso. And I think my team is a little bit bored by me speaking about Ted Lasso, because that's come up a few times in our staff meetings. But if you've seen it, there's a lot of wisdom that's included in the show. One of those is that little yellow sign that's stuck up above the door in the dressing room, and that just says believe. And so it's a very simple message, but it's also extremely radical if you think about it. Another Ted Lasso gem that we've spoken about in our team is to be curious and not judgmental. Because if that is our posture with other people, if that's our posture with other people, asking what's going on beneath the surface and not just looking at what's presented and judging and writing people off based on that, then that leads to lots of healing. It can lead to restored relationships and strengthened relationships and hope and change. And that really is what we hope to be for the young people that we work with. In the TV show, there's also the local football supporters, and they have a saying that it's the hope that kills you. And at Youth for Life Trust, that's exactly what we do not believe. So we believe that it's so much that we've written it into our vision statement, which I think you can see on the wall behind me, or you should see on the wall behind me. But we believe that hope gives life, and it can lead to life. Hope shows up in the ordinary, so a steady mentor that's available to speak to a young person, a safe space after school, a chance to try and fail and hopefully try again. Hope is not wishful thinking, it's a discipline, it's a community project, something we practice together until it becomes a young person's new normal. Tonight is about that hope in action. So in a few minutes, our team will share stories about real moments of change. A student who found their voice, or a young teen that suddenly felt they connected and they belong. A family who felt seen and supported. These are not isolated stories, but they are the fruit of a long obedience in the same direction, year after year, and relationship by relationship. So to our supporters and partners in this room, thank you very much. You are standing not by the sidelines and watching what we do. You're on the field with us. Your encouragement, your wisdom, your prayers, and your resources, they all stitch together to form the safety net that forms a springboard that we can help and support young people through. We do not take that responsibility lightly, and thank you. So as you hear the stories tonight, I invite you to listen to that thread that ties all of them together, and that's the word believe. Believe that every young person is more than their toughest day. Believe that New Brighton can be a place where hope is not rare or fragile, but normal and resilient. Believe that what began in 1988 wasn't just a good idea, it was a group of people taking action to create hope again and again. Nami Nui, thank you for being part of this story with us. Let's believe together and enjoy the stories of hope that follow. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. Ka James Toka Ingoa. I'm the co-manager of Youth Alive Trust alongside David. What an inspiring speech, David. You can do that every week. Love it. That video was made by me walking around with my cell phone over 1 week at Youth Alive Trust and just pulling that together. On a cell phone, but just be popping into a club, oh, but get a bit of that, bit of that. It's so hard to kind of showcase to you what Youth Alive Trust does in a 45-minute presentation, and that's what we do in 1 week. Amazing, eh? So inspiring. I've been at Youth Alive Trust for 21 years, and people say to me, are you not ready for a new job, a new challenge, something different? But every day, I know I'm going to come to a place where we are making a difference. Every day I come here, every day is a new challenge. We don't know what the day is going to hold, what the challenge is going to bring. And it's inspiring to be in a job where you're actually making a positive change in people's lives and in the community. So this presentation is as much for me as it is for any of you, because I love hearing the stories of our staff. I love reflecting on the big picture of everything that happens. Now, there's some staff here who'll be sharing some of their stories about what they're doing, what their area of Youth Alive Trust. And they don't get to hear the stories of what happens in all the different areas. So this is a chance for us all to kind of hear the big picture of kind of what kind of happens all around. Now, there's a couple of staff members who aren't here as well. And that first staff member was the first speaker. So I'm just going to go over their speech to begin with. And I'm going to tell you a bit about one of the first things that Youth Alive Trust does. And we run 8 weekly youth clubs. Every week, we run 8 youth clubs. There's a Tamatane Boys Club on a Thursday afternoon, 4 o'clock to 5:30. And these group of boys, many of whom are challenging and have high energy levels. And we have a couple of staff members and a group of volunteers who love on these boys. They play the games, they do the arts and crafts, they take them on trips, they speak love into them, and they speak hope and confidence, and they give them challenges to do. And the boys go home at the end of the day, and their mums or their nans or their granddads go, thank you so much. And you don't know what difference you're making. You don't know if it's made an actual difference on that day, but we're here to talk about big picture. Kotila Tila Girls Club is exactly the same on a Wednesday afternoon. Girls aged between 5 and 9, doing this very similar activities, arts, crafts, games, outings, trips. Rock Solid is the same again on a Friday night, 4 till 6 o'clock, just for intermediates. And this club particularly has been running for nearly 20 years in this community. You'll find people in this community who say, I used to go to Rock Solid as a kid. And then Surge is our teenage club on a Monday night from 6:30 to 8:30. Now, some of our Surge young people are here tonight. They've been helping serve, and they'll be leaving at some point to go out and enjoy their night for themselves. Surge is a great place because there's not one high school in the area that all the young people go to. So they go to a mixture of different high schools, but lots of them who used to go to the same primary schools then can meet up again. And they've got a chill place. They've got great role models in the youth workers doing activities, team building challenges, and all the same types of activities that the other clubs do. And then we have some specialist clubs such as the Kitchen Club on a Tuesday afternoon, 4 till 5:30. They're cooking, they're baking sweet and savoury, and they get to eat it. I'm not saying that's the highlight of it, but that's the highlight of it. Craft Club on a Thursday afternoon. They get to make and create. It's all girls, surprisingly. They put the music on, they have hot chocolates, and they're making and creating different things every week. Basketball Club is on a Tuesday afternoon, and there's 3 different clubs for 3 different age groups. So from the youngers to the mediums to the olds, they're doing drills and skills, and then they finish with a mini game at the end. I don't know if any of them are going to become future NBA stars. If they are, hopefully they'll start to give to Youth Alive Trust. But lots of them are just learning to catch and throw and learning new skills at the same time and just having fun. And then there's a new club called Rise, which is a singing and dancing club, specifically for teenagers to have a place where they can express themselves, be creative, expand their skills. And we have a couple of amazing tutors who are working with them. And if you want to stay till the end, tonight they'll be doing their end of year performance, which is going to last around 20 minutes. And I realise that not all of you can stay for that, but we'd encourage you to stay and see them do their end of year performance. Youth Alive Trust changed our model of practice this year, and we now focus on the Circle of Manna, which is providing a place of belonging and identity where everyone is in a safe an inclusive environment where young people can build meaningful friendships and engage in positive role models and connect to their culture. It's about achievement and confidence, where young people build new skills and try new things, building confidence such as cooking and crafts, music, sports, leadership, outdoor activities. It's about providing a place of influence and responsibility where young people have a meaningful voice and are able to impact what happens on our programs through feedback and volunteering and help shape future programs. And it's about providing a place of generosity where young people give back through volunteering and give back through community service projects in our local community too. We had 3,518 individual participations who came to those 8 clubs in the past year. That's a lot of young people. And you don't know, like I've said, the impact you're having. But time and time again, you hear feedback. We got contacted about a month ago from a mum who used to come along to our programs, and she said, now my 16-year-old girl, she had such a great time at your programs. Is there any way she can get involved and volunteer? We'd love her to, that's great. Where are you? Oh, we live in Ahoka. Well, that's quite a way to drive. We love your passion, but there might be something a little bit closer to you where you might want to volunteer. But that was just a great little thought. And then we also had another dad who contacted us at reception and said, I've got a 20-year-old son who's going through such a hard time at the moment. And when I thought about it, the only time I can remember him being at his happiest was when he was at Youth Alive Trust coming to your evening programs. What can you do for him now? Again, it was a happy moment of like, yes, we made a difference at the time. And also a sad moment of, he's 20 now, what can we do for this 20-year-old who's going through a tough time? Sometimes you don't know what impact you're having. The games don't work, the kids fly off the walls, the craft doesn't work, the kids putting salt instead of sugar into the bacon, everybody vomits. It happens. But we know by the fact that the young people keep coming back and by hearing these stories that you're going to hear, that we're here to make a difference in each individual life. If they make one good friend, if they learn an instrument that gives them a passion for life, if they feel seen, heard and valued, and if they learn the joy of giving and not receiving, we've impacted not just them, but their whānau and their community too. And I want to introduce Emma, who's one of our youth workers who works in a local school. Please don't clap on the way up because that's going to take time. And she's going to tell you a little about the stories of what she impacts in our local school. She's involved in Graffiti Primary School just up the road. Please come up, Emma. We have quite a bit of involvement in our local schools. We have counsellors who work in Graffiti Primary and at New Brighton Catholic School as well. We have a music programme that operates in our local schools. We do an inter-school table tennis competition on Friday afternoons during the winter where our local schools come and play for 6 to 8 weeks. And we help host community school events such as a disco, such as an end-of-year nativity, such as end-of-year prize givings. We host some basketball trainings. And we've had 24/7 youth work in Shirley Boys up until recently, until our 2 male youth workers went on to new ventures. But Emma's our Graffiti Schools youth worker, and I'll introduce her.
Awkward. Kia ora, my name's Emma, like James said, and I have the privilege of doing youth work at Rafiti School. I spend a lot of my time there doing lunch break support, in class, like just hanging out with the young people, not distracting them, I promise. Also coaching some sports, running like 6-week long friendship groups, which is really cool. And mentoring some taihohi, like young people one-on-one. By connecting with the young people in this relaxed, more informal way, I get to build like these really awesome, like trusting relationships with them, and then they kind of open up and I can support them. Whoa, she's nervous. Chill out, man. Right. In friendship groups, what that looks like is working with kind of ages 8 to 12. We focus on discovering their strengths, building positive relationships, learning practical conflict management skills, and practicing how it is to be a thoughtful and supportive friend. And these activities give them tools that they can use both at school and in home. And something really cool that I got to do was support this young person in a one-on-one mentoring relationship about a year ago. And this one's really awesome because she was really disengaged with her schooling. She wasn't doing really any work in class. She was kind of just attending and hanging with her mates. She had some pretty severe mental health issues, and I was able to, with the teachers asking me to, come alongside her, get to just chat with her, catch up with her. We used to just hang in the playground half the time. And in that, I found out a lot of stuff about her, and I got to bridge that gap between her and the school and her family, and really open up like what was happening for her. And in that, we got to arrange like for her to go to counselling, and get a lot of support in that. I put in this 6-week like intervention thing with her where she got incentives every week that she did all her schoolwork. She had to complete it all. I even checked with the teachers every week. And then she got like some lollies and she thought it was great. But by the end of it, actually, she was fully engaged in her schoolwork. She was doing homework by choice. And from her teacher and also her whānau, they both said to me, like, she's almost a totally different young person, which was really epic. And so, I guess the work that I do in school gives me the privilege to partner with a young person and positively influence their life, helping them reconnect and rediscover their passions and realise their potential. Kia ora.
Beautiful. Well done. We run after school care every day, where our vans go and pick up young people from our local schools and bring them back here, and they're integrated into those weekly youth clubs, which I mentioned earlier. In every holidays, we run 3 different holiday programs. Our Kia program is for our youngest, our Pukeko, and our Piwaka program is for our senior programs. And we know people who travel from different parts of the city because our programs specialise in those age groups, so they can specialise in the activities which those young people want to get involved in. We also do other extra days, such as when strike days on, or when schools classrooms burn down. We're able to run those types of programs to support other local families. And Rā Whakanui is a program that we run in December for our teenagers, end of year. I want to introduce Shelley, who's our Oscar coordinator. And she's just going to tell you a little bit about kind of what we do at Oscar.
Hi, I'm Shelley. As James said, I've worked on the Oscar program for the last 7 years on and off. I had a couple of babies, but it's been so awesome and it's such a rewarding job, and I've really enjoyed being able to be with these kids every day after school, build these relationships, and you get to see so much. You even get to see years later, we have Oscar kids that just come back and they want to help us, they want to volunteer because they enjoyed being on Oscar with us, which you wouldn't think because they weren't behaving like they enjoyed being on Oscar with us. But they come back and it's like there was something that sparked them wanting to come back. Or they'll be walking down the street and they'll come in and they'll say, hey, and they'll want to catch up. And we're always open for that. Even young people coming back and volunteering. We've got some awesome people that have been on Oscar before and they're volunteering with us, and it's so awesome just to see them come through and then come back and still be involved with us. And that's so rewarding, and I love the relationships and I love the young people. Even now at the program, they all come from different schools and sometimes they don't get along so well. But we get the awesome opportunity to walk alongside them when they're struggling in their relationships and help restore something. And just recently we had 2 boys that were like, one was getting bullied quite constantly, and then we restored the relationship between them, and they're like really good friends now. It's really awesome to see. And they were constantly bullying him. This boy was getting not treated very well every day, but now he's included and now he's feeling super welcome because we got a chance to like sit down with these boys and be like, hey, what's going on? Restore the relationship, and now he feels so much happier and better here. We also have girls that come as well, and we've got these girls that I've watched over the last year or so just develop, and they're best friends now. And they come from different schools and they hang out outside of Oscar, and they've built this awesome relationship that started here after school care. And I think that's such an awesome thing to be able to witness, friendships being developed, people overcoming like someone being mean to them and then they're friends now. I think it's really awesome to see how young people can restore and be such an awesome like influence to me as the Oscar coordinator and be like, hey, you guys can like forgive and be awesome. I can learn something from you as well. So it's a really cool thing to be a part of. And I did want to share one quick thing. We get awesome response from our parents as well. We get messages, and I just want to share one of the messages. She said, I just wanted to thank you so much for all the wonderful work, for providing such a cool place for all the kids. We're really lucky to have such a good service in our community. And that's pretty awesome. That's just from one of the boys that attend at the moment, their mum. And we've also had a young person just maybe in the last 6 months message me, and she was quite difficult on program, but she messaged me apologising for all her behaviour and being like, I'm so sorry, you guys were always so kind, but I wasn't so good to you. And I was like, nah, you're all good. Like, but it was really nice to like, hey, years later, she's like, oh, maybe I should reach out and apologise. So it's really rewarding. I really love it. So, yeah.
Well done. One of the strings to Youth Life Trust bow we added a few years ago was a Mana Ake contract, which is a wellbeing support working with whānau and young people. So they work individually in schools or in the homes or in the community. They work with the wider whānau, they work in groups, they do specialist courses, and they work in the classrooms too. I'll introduce Danny, who's going to tell you a little bit about her work and the impact that she's having.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So, yes, I work for Mana Ake. We are a government-funded organisation that work out in different schools around Christchurch. Our funding is up for renewal next year. If there's any politicians in the room, just if you could take care of that. But no, when we first started, we've been around for about 8 years now. It was actually called mild to moderate, so we got referrals that were mild to moderate. It is far, far from that now, just with the complex world that we're in and all the different facets of it and things that are happening to people. A story that kind of reflects that was one of my clients that I started working with in November of last year. She was referred for some friendship problems and sort of just kind of finding her identity and sort of questioning life and, you know, all those big things that a 12-year-old starts to think about. So we started off working with that, and it was kind of, you know, just your mild to moderate sort of work. Unfortunately, over the school holidays in January of earlier this year, her dad actually took his own life, which was awful. And I guess if there's any positive that you can put on that situation, which you really can't, was just the fact that Mana Ake was already involved. And so my work with her just changed completely to supporting her through that and also being there for her mum. We are quite lucky that we can work with whānau as well. So we focused all of our attention on that and went through a pretty thorough and rocky kind of grief program, and I actually kept her open way longer than I'm supposed to, but I ended up closing her recently, and I had a meeting with her mum, and her mum was just like, man, I just don't know where we would be if you weren't involved or if you weren't here for us through that process. So yeah, we just get lots of really amazing opportunities to work with some really complex things, and just the privilege of being able to hold that and support these people through that is pretty amazing. Thanks.
Wonderful, thank you. We've got 5 amazing Mana Ake staff, all part-time. We've got the ex-teachers, counsellors, social workers. I'm just going to read out a couple of other stories which they've passed on to me. I thought I'd let you know I saw my boy using some strategies with her sister the other day. I'm not sure what caused him to become so frustrated with her, but he sat there, took a deep breath, and got up and walked away. I was so proud of him. It was so awesome to see. I asked him if that was something he learned from you, and he said it was. Thank you. You can just hear the relief in the mum's voice, eh? And another email from a mum. I feel like I've got a new perspective, and I'm able to be a lot more organised and there for my daughter more. Thank you for everything you've done You've really helped her out of this really difficult patch. I feel like there's also been so many more positive changes at school too, with teachers supporting her more. It's been amazing to see her confidence grow. Lovely. And this was from a DP regarding a young autistic boy. When we started, he was sitting separate from his classmates and lacked any sense of resilience, crying and distressed at the slightest challenge. He recently told his teacher he's ready to make friends now and now sits with his classmates. He said, I've had several people comment about the big change that they've seen in this boy. Thanks for all your mahi. It's made such a big difference to him. He's very lucky to have such an amazing advocate besides his own whānau. And these stories go on. And I have to do a report every quarter as part of the Mana Ake contract. And I email the team and say, right, give me your latest updates. Give me any emails and texts and feedback that you've got. And they're like, oh, I don't know what I've got. And then suddenly they all start flowing in. It's like, oh, I did have this. And I've created folders in everybody's personal SharePoint drive on their computers called encouragements. And I say, every time you get an encouragement from a parent, save it in the folder, because there'll be days when you feel like, oh, what am I actually doing? Go back to your encouragement folder, reread those stories, because it reminds you all the difference that you are making. And we also do quite a bit of parenting support. So we run courses such as tuning into kids, tuning into teens, building awesome whānau. We do a number of parenting seminars. We had 2 big seminars this year on parenting children who are neurodiverse and parenting children who are suffering with anxiety. We do drop-ins, and then we share a lot of online articles for parents and resources as well. I want to introduce Johanna, who's going to share a little bit about the types of parenting support that we offer here.
Kia ora koutou, ko Johanna tuku ingoa. I'm a mana aki kaimahi with a background in social work, and I genuinely, thoroughly love this job. And I think when I first graduated from social work many years ago, if this existed, this would have just been the perfect fit. But I finally found it, so yeah, it's awesome. But just James was talking about the parenting support. We're really lucky. There's not many jobs out there where you can work one-on-one with the child, with the parents, and with the school. So we get to work right across the board, and I think that's really helpful rather than just working in isolation with one particular person. But by the time we connect with many parents and we get the referral through and meet with them, they're often feeling really overwhelmed and powerless, particularly if they've been fielding repeated phone calls from the school about little Johnny's behaviour. And they're devastated. They're like, I don't understand. Why is this happening? And there's a big dose of parent guilt that goes along with that. And they're trying to work out what to do, but without $2,500 for a private psychological assessment, many families can wait up to 2 years in the public system before their child gets a diagnosis, which then allows them to get the funding they need for support in school. So our role more and more is to support parents while they're in that really hard space. And it is a privilege, and it has required a lot of upskilling from the mana aki workers as well, learning how to support these children. And a big part of that is advocacy in the school. And sometimes it's helping the parents to see that their child's actually not a naughty child. Their kid isn't. They get messages like he's been aggressive, he's a bully, all this negative language, but we get the opportunity to say, hey, your kid's a really great kid. There's just some things, some expectations he's struggling to meet, and let's be a detective and work out what it is that he's struggling with. And how can we remove some of those barriers? So Johnny, you're going to get some really good phone calls from that parent, from the school. One of the most effective things in terms of supporting parents, I think, is through the Tuning Into Kids program, which I found out the other day. In the North Island, I think parents get charged up to $500 to do this course, which we offer for free in Christchurch through Mana Aki. So my colleague Kim and I are currently facilitating a group, and last week we invited parents It's a 6-week program called Tuning Into Kids, and it focuses on emotion coaching. And last week, we put all these pictures out of symbolising different emotions. And we said to the parents, choose a card that represents how you're feeling at the moment. And I would say, without exception, every parent chose a card that had that represented overwhelm and anger or frustration and or both. And as a parent myself of 3 girls, I know that's quite common. But you could actually, when they were so vulnerable in sharing how they were feeling, and you could actually hear the collective sigh of like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not the only bad parent here. Look at everyone. They're also feeling the same and feeling angry as well. But I think in all seriousness, it's from this place where they're being vulnerable that we have this beautiful job of building these parents' confidence up, letting them know that we see them and they're not alone, and that in showing them ways of connecting and communicating with their children. And it really is such a rewarding job and a real privilege. Thank you.
Well done. We're involved in some of the bigger community events in the area. We're involved in Kite Day. We're involved in I Love Brighton, which is currently going through a rebranding and will be operating as something slightly different. In PCT Day, which is a partnership with the local police, and the Christmas parade. And then we run a big event on the night of Halloween as an alternative to trick-or-treating called the Family Fun Night. And we ran this a week and a half ago. And this is our highlights video. Community events are a great way of promoting the other services that we offer. So if somebody connects with us for the first time at an event, they might say, oh, I see you also run clubs. I see you also do holiday programs. I see you've got a parenting seminar coming up. So these are great ways of connecting with wider community people as well. Another area that we operate is a music school called Amplify School of Music. I want to introduce Laura, who's going to tell you a little bit about Amplify. We do 150 lessons for young people every week. We have rock bands, we do recording sessions with young people, our bands do gigs and concerts, and Rise, you'll hear a little bit more about shortly.
Kia ora. Ko Laura toku ingoa. I'm the manager of the Amplify School of Music, and I've been in my role for about 2.5 years now, and it's a real honour for me to be here this evening, sharing a little snapshot of what we've been up to this year and the impact our mahi is having on our local community and beyond. We've been able to launch a couple of new projects this year due to external funding, which we're really grateful for. The first of these was a collab with Crossroads Youth with a Future in Aranui alongside Tapaki Hewitt, who's here tonight, project manager, providing free music lessons 2 afternoons a week to anyone that comes along to the drop-in centre. We have been really blessed to have Ethan this year as he plays everything. The kids have been turning up and getting lessons on drums, a keyboard, guitar, bass and vocals. This project has really grown throughout the year, with kids coming in excited about learning and showing up regularly to participate and being keen to practice at the drop-in centre between lessons. We look forward to continuing this project next year. This year has also seen the launch of Rise, our performing arts group. This is another project we have been able to offer to the local community for free, thanks to a generous bequest from the estate of Stuart Miller. You will have the opportunity to see this one in action very shortly. Just hang on a wee second longer. The students involved have thrived in this club and admitted that they've made friends where they didn't expect. Throughout the year, they have developed a beautiful culture of encouraging each other to give things a go, and the tutors have observed lots of personal growth and development in each of the students. And we look forward to extending this programme in 2026 to include a Rise Junior club for students in years 4 to 6. I know there's lots of murmuring excitement about that. We also have continued to provide music lessons with our studios here on site, almost at capacity, along with our band programme, heaps of performing opportunities in the local area and beyond, recording in our studios and holiday workshops. We try to get the whole tutor team together. There's about 9 tutors that are working with us at the minute, together once a term, and it's always very apparent that one-on-one tutoring is about 50% music teaching and about 50% mentoring. And it's a unique position to have, and none of us take it for granted. And this is where being part of Youth Trust, with youth mentoring support from our youth workers and social worker support from Mana Aki team, creates pathways for us to really help the students and families who need that extra support. Just this term, I had a tutor concerned about a student's well-being, and we were able to follow up with one of our youth workers. It's just a real honour to be able to make those connections. Here's a neat story from the year. One of our students attends Takura, and we were contacted by his teacher to see if we could facilitate him with the performance element of his NCEA music. And Travis, one of our awesome tutors, I'm sure you know the name, worked with the student towards a recorded session at our studios, which his mum and a friend sat in on to validate the performance element of his examination. And this is a direct quote from the teacher at Takura. Go that teacher. I'm so thrilled. One of the highlights of my time at Takura that my student has done this. Thank you so much, with lots of O's. Much as I know all the work that goes into this. So great too that he did this in front of others. I've marked and sent for moderation straight away. Now I have to think of next steps. And this student went on to achieve an excellence for his examination. Yeah, it's quite awesome. Yeah. I just want to finish by sharing a few other quotes that we've received from grateful parents. And this is just from an Amplify mum. We are grateful for all the amazing tuition, encouragement and support our son has received from Amplify over the years. Another parent who participated in our Kids Fest holiday programs. Thank you so much for providing these music lessons. My son had his first music lesson ever on the drums with Peter, another tutor. He really enjoyed it. You never know what this may have sparked. And the final one is from a mum of a student studying a few different instruments with us. And she said, my words will never be enough to fully explain the difference each and every one of you are all making. Thank you so, lots of O's again, much for being who you are. Thank you.
Thank you. A number of years ago, Youth Alive Trust was approached by Crichton Cobbers, another youth trust in the town that was closing, and they needed to pass on some of their assets to us, which we gratefully received, and we've had a strong partnership ever since. We've got Frank and Eleanor here with us, who've travelled in from Amberley tonight just to be with us. And one of the things that they did pass on to us is some of their trophies, and we've continued to give out those trophies but renamed them. So one of the trophies I just want to give out tonight, I want to invite Frank and Eleanor up to present this trophy, is the Youth Alive Trust Musician of the Year trophy. And it used to be, I think this one was the wrestling trophy, but it's been renamed. And this has been, we asked for nominations, and this is going to, oh, that's fine. This is going to Anika and Jess, our two singers and performers at the beginning of the night. These two girls have stood out this year in both their development of their musical skills, their commitment to helping and performing at events such as tonight, and their development into a weekly youth band too. They've both shown professionalism, a great attitude, and huge promise for the future too. Congratulations, Anika and Jess. You can come up and receive your trophy. Thank you.
Push your head. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. The bonus is coming, girls. You also get a voucher as part of that Crichton College Scholarship, and that will come at a later date. I want to introduce Kim, who is one of our parents who sends her young people along to our programs. I shoulder tapped a number of parents, and Kim was the only one who actually said, oh yeah, I'm happy and confident enough to do that. A lot of others had something on at this time on a Monday night for some reason. So thank you, Kim, for sharing.
I did make it, thank you. Well, kia ora koutou, ko Kim Tukawingwa. So I'm brave enough to stand here. My husband would be here, but he's at karate. So we are locals. We moved to the area about 15 years ago when I was pregnant with my first child, who's now almost 15. We also have a daughter who is in year 8, so she's 13, and an 11-year-old in year 6 and a 9-year-old in year 4. So it's been a busy last 10 years. And it was about 5 years ago that we discovered Youth Alive. And it was actually through the School of Music that we ended up here. So we were actually looking for a new piano teacher, one a little closer to home. And Amplify Music actually go into the schools and teach as well. And that's how we heard of them. So our kids go to Rafiti School. And so we signed up our children through music lessons through school, but also we've got some kids who come here and have lessons. So our children still have music lessons here, and it's been amazing. They've had a few different teachers over the last 5-6 years, but they've all been amazing. I can't speak more highly of all of the teachers. Our kids have absolutely loved them, they've thrived. And in recent years, there's been mid-year and end-of-year concerts, which are held here, and it's been great because it's a very small kind of intimate concert, and there's all different levels of musicians performing, and so it's forced my kids to get up on this stage and perform, and they all do the piano, and they've all at some point stood up here and performed, which has been great. And then through coming here for music lessons, we discovered all the other clubs. And so I have a couple of daughters who do kitchen club and a daughter who does craft club. So we are regular visitors here, and all of the staff have been amazing, absolutely amazing. Again, I highly recommend. They've just been so accommodating and friendly and approachable. Our kids feel at home here, so they come here and, they're off. They feel so comfortable in this venue. I don't need to worry about them. They feel incredibly safe here. And for my husband and I, our kids' emotional safety is actually, or our kids' emotional stability is really important for us, because we know that when they feel emotionally secure and safe, then everything else will thrive. So through their schooling and even their preschooling, I was always really conscious to build bridges. So never just drop my kids off and run. I would always take the time to meet the teachers, meet the staff, make sure that I felt comfortable, because if I felt comfortable, then my kids would feel comfortable. And that's kind of how this is kind of just organically evolved here. So I know my kids feel incredibly comfortable here. My year 8, who's looking, she's going to high school next year, she's talking about coming back and potentially helping if she can in kitchen club and things like that. So there's definitely leadership opportunities. Recently, just this term, year 4s were allowed to have a go at clubs for year 5s and up. And also year 6s were allowed to have a go at clubs for year 7 and up. So I've got 2 that are trialling clubs for next year. So I think that's a definite. They'll be signing up next year. What else have I got here? I just love the variety of clubs. Like if my kids actually wanted to do basketball or something else, they could. I've always said to my kids, I want you to do something physical, something social, and something creative. If you can find a club that does all 3, great. But I've been really conscious to make sure that they have a variety of clubs in their lives. And I think especially for the sort of more of the teenage brain, I think social clubs are really important. So like the Rock Solid, those sort of older or sort of tween to young teen clubs are really important. So we've got a lot out of this facility, and like I said, the staff have been amazing, and I think we're going to be here for a few more years yet.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. That's great to hear from a parent. Thank you. We have a number of different leadership opportunities where volunteers, as mentioned, often from the age of around 14, can help out in all those different clubs. We take placements from University of Canterbury, from ARA. We do training around first aid, behaviour management, youth work 101, those types of programs. And we do a lot of volunteer celebrations and acknowledgements, and we're really pushing into our bicultural practice through our training too. Last year, we had 597 volunteer sessions at our clubs, totaling 1,791 hours. We did 92 volunteer sessions at community events, 226 volunteer sessions at holiday programs, plus we've got 5 trustees who volunteer their times at trainings, meetings and strategic developments. That's a total of, we worked this out, at 3,776 hours, and if that was paid at minimum wage, that's nearly $90,000 saved just from volunteer hours. Amazing. A couple of years ago, we were given the custodianship of Roy Stokes Hall, which is such a privilege to hold such a massive community facility on behalf of the community. So we just look after it on behalf of the community, and we've got a circus school who use it daily in there. There's dance groups. We've had kickboxing, self-defense classes, Zumba art classes, cultural events, prize givings, all recently in there. We don't host parties and weddings anymore. We decided that alcohol-induced damage just wasn't really worth that. And there is space in Roy Stokes Hall for more permanent tenants. We're going to be doing a big feasibility study next year with hopefully some support from New Zealand Lotteries to look at where the gaps are in this community, how that facility can be better used in the future, and how we can make it more sustainable. The electricity is really expensive over there. If we can get more insulation in there, double glazing, a new roof, some solar insulation, some solar panels possibly, and maybe redevelop it into a bit more fit for purpose, we can really see that being an amazing asset for the community for many years to come. Financially, these are our numbers. Last year we made a loss of about $63,000, excluding depreciation. As you'll see, our Mana Ake contract makes up around 42% of our income. So everything, apart from Mana Ake, is made up of everything else. We only get about 17% of our income from grants. There are some fees, there is some fundraising, and then we have this thing called Friends of YAT, where people give a donation, a regular donation. It might be $5 a week, $10 a week, and that makes up about $30,000 a year. If there's about 50 people, which is about probably 56 people in this room, who'll give $5 a week, that's 10 grand a year of untagged money, which makes the world of difference when it comes to some shortfalls. And if you've got friends and family and multimillionaire elderly relatives who don't know what to do with their money, I don't even need to finish that sentence. We have cut some costs recently. We haven't put youth workers back into Shirley Boys. We're not running camps at the moment. We aren't running those teenage holiday programs. We got through to the final round of a Ministry of Youth Development contract, and unfortunately we didn't get that. So we've got to both look at cutting costs and raising more money as well. So we're hoping to employ a new team lead. We lost 2 male youth workers, and we're hoping to replace them next year. But things are tight. As you know, in the charity sector, everything is tight. And this Yorkshire accent, which you can hear is nice and thick, everything is tight when it comes to spending money as well. We always follow the motto of ask for a discount, and anything you can get for free, brilliant, well done. I want to introduce our local MP, Ruben Davidson, our local Labour MP. I just wanted to invite him to talk about the benefits of grassroots community organisations such as ours.
Thanks very much. E nā mana, e nā reo, e nā rautaki mai. Kia ora koutou. I'm Ruben Davidson. I'm the Labour MP here in Christchurch East. And when James invited me to say a few words tonight, he said that he'd asked quite a few parents, and as you mentioned earlier, they'd all been quite busy. And then he thought, who will always agree to speak at an event? And he thought, the local MP or any politician. So the challenge is for me to not speak for too long. But one of the things that I did want to do was to acknowledge some of the other local elected members who we have present tonight, who have just been sworn in this afternoon. So we've had Celeste Donovan, our councillor here, also Alex Hewison and Kim Money, our new community board members. And we're really lucky to have excellent and active local representation at all levels of the political spectrum here in Christchurch East. And the best thing too is that we're all very good at working constructively together to benefit our local communities, which is absolutely what it should be about. So I look forward to that continuing through the next term. You'll have to forgive me reading off my phone for someone who has 2,000 pens with my name written on them. I didn't manage to bring one of them tonight. But I think what I see every day, both through the work I do in Wellington and through the conversations and visits I have to schools, charities and local groups around Christchurch East and Aotearoa, is that these are incredibly challenging times for our young people. They're far more complex than the early 90s when I was at high school. There's a whole lot more challenge in the world of social media and some of the digital technologies that are available and some of the distractions from family life and from community life. And those challenges are complex and they're often very hard to overcome. And that's why groups like Youth Alive and the work that happen here are such an important part of the marae, of the village that's required to bring our young people in a fully supported way into the kind of community that we want to grow together. So the things that I see every time I visit Youth Alive are fantastic activities that are involving not just the young people taking part, but are involving their families, are involving the wider community. The doors are open, people are welcome to come in, people are encouraged to take part. And when we see that enrichment of our young people's lives, we know that that enrichment goes home with them, goes into school with them, grows with them, and that not only that they carry that, but that they pass that on to the people around them as well. So I think the work that happens here is a huge credit to our community. We're very lucky to have Youth Alive here, and I would just like to finish by asking for a huge round of applause for James and for all of the people who've spoken tonight about the work that Youth Alive does, because it's fantastic and we need to keep supporting it. So a round of applause for everything you do.
Thank you. Wonderful said, thank you. Thank you, Ruben. It is 6:49. I'm going to give the final word to our chairman, Greg, who's the chairman of our Board of Trustees. And then after he's finished, I'm going to invite the RISE group to come in and do their performance. If you need to sneak away, that would probably be the time, but I encourage you to stay as well. Thank you for coming tonight. Really appreciate it.
Kia ora koutou everyone. Yep, my name's Greg, and it's a real privilege to stand before you tonight as chairman of the board of Youth Alive Trust. Because being part of this organisation is something I'm genuinely, geez, that's a good word, proud of, not because of just the work that's done, but also because of the people that make it happen and the people that drive this. As you know, excuse me, as we've heard, for many years, YAT's been a pillar of hope and support for the community here in Brighton. And what started as a fairly local initiative has grown to a trusted, respected charity that walks alongside young people and their families through all seasons of their life, whether it's after-school programs, counselling, mentoring, holiday programs, Oscar, Amplify, and on it goes. Every part of what we do is about helping young people discover their potential and find belonging and their purpose. And as I've heard, trying to measure the impact of what we do is hard to measure. But it's seen every day in the confidence of a young person that realises that they're valued and that they're loved, the relief that a parent feels when they're supported, and in that ripple effect, it's like the pond, you know, you drop the little pebble and out goes the ripples. And that strengthens our whole community. I often say that YAT's not just an organisation, it's a whānau. You know, that's because of the incredible people that are involved. So firstly, to our dedicated staff, I just want to say thank you. You bring professionalism, compassion, and a commitment to everything you do. You go above and beyond for the young people you serve, and it shows. So to our staff, I want to say a big thank you. To our amazing volunteers as well. You're truly the lifeblood of this organisation, as we've heard. a lot of hours. You give your time, your energy, your hearts. Often behind the scenes it goes unseen, but we just simply couldn't do it without you. And then finally to our funders and our supporters, your generosity makes all of this possible. So thank you for believing in what we do and for partnering with us to make real change in the community. So lastly, as a board, we're continually inspired by all the stories we hear. James is a big storyteller, as you know. He tells us, and we hear so many encouraging, great stories, and it's great to see the outcomes that has. So it's a privilege to serve alongside people who are so compassionate, committed, and helping our young people thrive. So finally, lastly, on behalf of the board, thank you to everyone here. Thank you for coming tonight. You all play a part in this mission, and together, hopefully, we can build a better, stronger community, stronger families, and stronger young people. So, ngā mihi nui, and thank you, and good night.